My mother told everyone I was worthless, so I bought her business and fired her. The wine glass shatters against the wall behind me, red liquid dripping like blood down the cream wallpaper. Worthless! Mom screams across the dining table. That's what you are, Mara. A complete waste of space. My aunt gasps. My uncle stares at his plate. The 3 employees Mom invited to celebrate her latest business award sit frozen, forks hovering mid-air. I should be used to this by now, but my hands still shake. Mom, please, I whisper. Not here. She laughs, cold and sharp. Why not here? Everyone should know the truth about my daughter's pathetic little design business. 3 clients in 2 years. That's not a business. That's a hobby for failures. My cousin Emma reaches for my hand under the table, but I pull away. I won't cry. Not in front of them. At least I'm trying, I say quietly. Trying. Mom's voice rises another octave. You're embarrassing this family. Embarrassing me. While I'm building an empire, you're playing with fabric swatches like a child. Something inside me cracks. Not breaks, cracks. Like ice before it shatters completely. I stand up slowly, chair scraping against hardwood. Every eye follows me as I grab my purse and walk toward the door. Outside, standing in the driveway of the house Dad built, I look back one final time. I'll never need you again, I whisper to the glowing windows. Mean it. Jason's hands are shaking when he slides the engagement ring across the coffee shop table 3 weeks later. My heart already knows what's coming, but my brain refuses to accept it. I can't marry you, Mara, he says, not meeting my eyes. The ring catches the afternoon sunlight, mocking me with its sparkle. Why? My voice sounds hollow even to my own ears. He shifts uncomfortably. Your mother called me last week. She told me things about your finances, your debt, your lack of ambition. The betrayal hits me like a physical blow. And you believed her. She showed me documents, Mara. Bank statements. Business records. She said you've been hiding how bad things really are. I want to scream that Mom manipulated those numbers, that she's been sabotaging me for years. But what's the point? Jason's already made his choice. So that's it. You're choosing her version of me over the person you've known for 3 years. He finally looks at me, and I see pity in his eyes. That's somehow worse than anger. I need stability. A partner who has their life together. I'm sorry. He leaves the ring on the table and walks out. I sit there for an hour staring at it, until the barista gently asks if I'm okay. I'm not. But I will be. That night I pack everything I own. In the bottom of my wallet, I find Mom's business card, the one she gave me for emergencies. I tear it into confetti and watch the pieces fall into the trash. By dawn, I'm on a bus to Chicago, starting over. Loan. Free. Sterling Design Company smells like coffee and old carpet. My new boss, Patricia, hired me after a 5-minute interview, probably because I'm cheap labor and desperate. I don't care. I need experience more than I need pride. For 6 months, I work 70-hour weeks. I learn everything: client management, supply chain logistics, how to stretch a budget until it screams. Patricia notices my late nights but never comments. Then one morning she finds my sketchbook on my desk. I'd been designing a sustainable collection for a fictional client. Just practice, just dreaming. These are incredible, she says, flipping through pages. My chest swells with hope. Really? I was thinking maybe we could pitch something similar to. I'll pitch it to the Riverside Hotel Group next week. She closes the book with finality. You keep working on the Henderson account. 2 weeks later, Sterling Design is featured in Midwest Living magazine. Patricia Morgan's revolutionary sustainable design approach reads the headline. Every concept is mine. Every sketch, every material choice, every innovation, stolen and rebranded. I stare at the framed article in our lobby for 10 minutes. Patricia walks past, doesn't even glance my way. That night something hardens inside me. I'm not angry anymore. Anger is useless. Instead I'm learning. I'm documenting everything. I'm becoming someone who can't be erased. Mom taught me I was worthless. Patricia's teaching me I'm invisible. But invisible people see everything. And I'm watching. Carefully. The diner is called Rosie's. And I'm here at 2 a.m. for the third night this week. Insomnia has become my companion since Jason left. Since Mom's words loop endlessly in my head. Gloria, the night shift waitress, doesn't ask questions anymore. She just brings coffee and leaves me alone with my napkins. Tonight I'm not sketching rooms. I'm sketching a future. Business model. A company built on everything I believe in. Sustainable materials, ethical sourcing, designs that last generations instead of seasons. Everything Mom's company isn't. I write down numbers, projected costs, potential clients. It's ambitious. Maybe impossible. Definitely terrifying. You gonna turn those napkins into something real? Gloria asks, refilling my cup at 3 a.m. I look up at her tired, kind face. I want to. I just don't know if I'm brave enough. He snorts. Honey, brave people don't spend their nights in diners planning revolutions. Desperate people do. And desperate is way more powerful than brave. After she walks away, I stare at my favorite sketch. A small studio with huge windows and plants everywhere. At the bottom, in tiny letters, I write, Mara Whitfield Design Consultancy. Then, so quietly the words barely exist, I whisper, this time it's mine. The napkin goes into my bag. The dream starts now. 3 years of poverty teach me things business school never could. I learn which grocery stores throw out still good food at closing time. I learn to fix my own plumbing because plumbers are expensive. I learn that pride is a luxury I can't afford. My design consultancy exists. Barely. I take jobs nobody else wants. Tight budgets, impossible clients, last-minute emergencies. A yoga studio pays me in free classes. A young couple gives me $200 to furnish their entire apartment. I work overnight shifts stocking shelves to pay rent. Some weeks I choose between internet service and groceries. Mom never calls. Not once. I wonder sometimes if she thinks about me at all, or if I've become just another business failure she mentions at parties. My daughter. Oh, she gave up years ago. But I haven't given up. Every rejection makes me sharper. Every late night makes me stronger. Then one Saturday, I rent a booth at a local trade fair. My display is humble. Foam boards with printed photos, fabric samples I begged suppliers for, a hand-painted sign. I spend 9 hours talking to exactly 14 people. 13 say, maybe later. But when I'm packing up, I find a cream-colored business card tucked under my sample book. Elegant script reads, call me if you're ready for a real partnership. Arthur Briggs. Phone number. Nothing else. My hands shake as I Google his name. Arthur Briggs. Retired investor, former competitor of Whitfield Interiors. My mother's rival. I stare at his photo until my phone screen goes dark. Then I dial. Arthur Briggs' office is actually his home library. Floor-to-ceiling books about architecture, business, design, philosophy. He looks exactly like his photo. 70-something, wire-rimmed glasses, cardigan sweater, eyes that miss nothing. Your mother and I were friends once, he says, pouring tea into delicate china cups. Before her husband, your father, died. After that. He pauses. She changed. I grip my teacup too tightly. That's one way to put it. I've been following your work. Small projects, yes, but there's something there. Vision. Integrity. Things your mother lost somewhere along the way. He slides a leather folder across his mahogany desk. Inside is a proposal for a boutique hotel chain. They're looking for a complete rebrand, sustainable, elegant, story-driven design. The budget is substantial. My eyes widen as I scan the numbers. This is more money than I've seen in 3 years combined. Why would you give this to me? I'm not giving it to you. You'll have to earn it. Pitch them, win them, deliver excellence. He leans back, studying me over his glasses. But if you succeed, I'll back your business. Equipment, connections, capital. Everything you need to build something real. I should ask about terms, about contracts, about what he expects in return. Instead, I ask, why? Why help me? Arthur's expression softens. Because your mother once told me that investing in people was weakness. I've spent 40 years proving her wrong. You're just the latest proof. I leave with the folder, my heart hammering. On the bus home, I open it again, making sure it's real. It is. This is my chance. The hotel pitch consumes my life for 6 weeks. Arthur coaches me through everything. Presentation style, business language, confidence techniques I never learned while I was busy surviving. The day arrives. I wear a thrift store blazer and Dad's old watch. My hands sweat as I set up my presentation in the boardroom. 5 executives sit across from me, expressions skeptical. I take a breath and begin. Eco-elegant retreats, I say, pulling up my first slide. Luxury without compromise. Sustainability without sacrifice. I show them everything. Reclaimed wood installations, living plant walls, furniture that tells stories. I walk them through cost projections, environmental certifications, guest experience surveys from similar projects. I speak about creating spaces that don't just look beautiful, they feel meaningful. When I finish, silence fills the room. My stomach drops. Then the CEO starts clapping. When can you start? She asks. 3 months later, the first hotel opens. Design blogs call it stunning. The future of conscious hospitality. My consultancy phone rings constantly. Arthur takes me to dinner to celebrate, pride evident in his eyes. You did it, Mara. I'm about to thank him when our waiter mentions he almost worked at a Whitfield Interiors location. But they're struggling lately, he adds casually. Management issues, old designs. Everyone's leaving. Something cold and electric runs through me. Is that so? I ask, keeping my voice neutral. That night, I search for news about Mom's company. Declining profits, store closures, employee complaints about toxic leadership. I stare at the articles until 3 a.m., feeling something I can't quite name. Not satisfaction, not quite guilt, something in between. Something that feels like the beginning of an ending. The Business Journal article is titled, Whitfield Interiors, a legacy brand losing its luster. There's a photo of Mom looking older, thinner, her smile strained for the camera. I read about falling sales, stores closing in 3 cities, long-time employees resigning. The article quotes an anonymous former manager. The culture there became unbearable. Leadership ruled through fear instead of inspiration. I close my laptop, hands shaking. Part of me feels vindicated. See, Mom? Your cruelty had consequences. But another part, smaller and more complicated, feels something like sorrow. She's drowning in the world she built. My phone rings. Arthur. Have you seen the Whitfield news? He asks without preamble. Just finished reading it. There's a pause, heavy with unspoken possibility. You know, Mara, if a company like that were for sale, if someone wanted to acquire it, I'd be interested in funding such a venture. With the right partner, of course. My heart stops. You're suggesting I buy my mother's company. I'm suggesting you consider what justice might look like. Reclaiming what should have been yours all along. Saving your father's legacy from someone who's destroying it. Pauses. But only if that's something you want. No pressure. Just possibility. After we hang up, I sit in the dark for hours. Buy Mom's company. Become her boss. Fire her the way she's fired so many others. Feels like revenge. Feels like justice. Feels terrifying. At dawn, I pull out an old photo album. There's a picture of Dad in his workshop, building the first display for what would become Whitfield Interiors. His smile is so proud, so full of hope. What would you want me to do? I whisper to his frozen image. The photo doesn't answer. But somehow I already know. For 2 weeks, I try to convince myself I don't want revenge. I'm better than that, bigger than that. I focus on my growing business, on being the kind of person Dad would be proud of. But late at night, the idea gnaws at me like hunger. What if I could reclaim my dignity? What if I could save Dad's legacy? What if I could prove, once and for all, that I was never worthless? Arthur doesn't pressure me, but he emails occasional updates. Whitfield Interior's minority shareholders are getting nervous. Stock value is dropping. The company is vulnerable. Finally, I make a decision. I book a bus ticket to my hometown, the first time I'll go back in 10 years. The town looks exactly the same and completely different. The coffee shop where Jason broke up with me is now a vape store. The bookstore Dad loved is a cell phone repair place. But Main Street still has the same judgmental small-town energy I remember. I walk past our old house, sold years ago to pay debts. Someone's painted it yellow. Dad would have hated that. Then I see it. Whitfield Interior's flagship location. The storefront looks tired. The window display is uninspired, outdated. Nothing like the cutting-edge showroom Mom always bragged about. Through the glass, I watch customers browsing half-empty shelves. The energy feels wrong. Desperate instead of confident. I pull my hood up and cross the street. My heart hammers as I push open the door. Bell chimes. I'm back in my mother's world. And this time I'm not leaving as a victim. I browse the showroom anonymously, sunglasses on, scarf wrapped around my hair like I'm hiding from paparazzi. The furniture is decent but dated. Nothing innovative, nothing that would catch a design magazine's attention. Everything feels stuck in the past. I'm examining a lacquered coffee table when I hear her voice. That voice. Sharp as glass, cold as winter. Are you completely incompetent? Is that what I'm paying you for? Freeze. Near the register, a young woman, maybe 23, stands with tears streaming down her face. Mom towers over her, face flushed with rage. I'm sorry, Mrs. Whitfield, the girl whispers. I thought the inventory. You thought? You thought. Mom's laugh is cruel. I don't pay you to think. I pay you to follow simple instructions that apparently are still too complex for your tiny brain. The girl's hands shake. I understand. I'll fix. You'll fix nothing. You've already cost me a vendor relationship and wasted my entire morning. Do you know what you are? You're deadweight. A liability. A mistake. Other customers have stopped browsing. Everyone's watching but nobody intervenes. Just like at all those family dinners. Just like when I was the one being shredded. The girl rips off her name tag. I quit, she chokes out. I can't, I won't. She runs toward the back exit, shoulders heaving with sobs. Mom smooths her blouse, unbothered, already turning toward another employee. That's when something explodes inside my chest. I lower my sunglasses and step forward. That's enough, I say quietly. Mom's head snaps toward me. Recognition flashes across her face. Shock, then something almost like fear. Mara, she whispers. But I'm already walking out, my decision made. My hands steady for the first time in years. I call Arthur from my hotel room, my voice clear and certain. I want to do it. I want to buy Whitfield Interiors. You're absolutely sure, he asks. Completely. That night, Arthur's legal team starts working. We create a holding company. Meridian Ventures LLC. My name appears nowhere on the paperwork. We approach the minority shareholders quietly, one by one. These are the people Dad brought in when he first expanded. Business partners who believed in his vision. Now they're exhausted by Mom's tyranny. The first is Richard, Dad's former CFO. I'll sell my 12% for half of market value if you promise to fix what Evelyn's broken, he tells Arthur. I can't watch her destroy Paul's legacy anymore. Oh, Dad's name makes my throat tight. Next is Margaret, Mom's college roommate who invested out of loyalty. Evelyn isn't who she used to be, Margaret says sadly. Grief changed her into someone I don't recognize. Someone cruel. She sells her 15%. One by one they agree. They're desperate to escape, worn down by years of watching the company decline and bearing the brunt of Mom's rage. By December I own 27%. I join a virtual shareholder meeting, camera off, using Meridian's representative credentials. Mom's voice fills my laptop speakers as she rants about disloyal investors and people who don't understand the market. She blames everyone but herself. When the meeting ends, I sit in silence, staring at my reflection in the black screen. Then I make another call. How much for 52%? I ask Arthur. One more major investor. Thomas Chin. He owns 11%. Arthur pauses. But he's loyal to your mother. This won't be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is, I reply. Make it happen. Thomas Chen is the toughest negotiation. He's been with the company since the beginning, loyal to Mom despite everything. For 3 weeks he ignores our offers. Then something shifts. Through Arthur's network, I hear about a board dinner where Mom publicly humiliated Thomas in front of major clients, accused him of incompetence, questioned his business judgment. He calls us the next morning. I'm ready to sell, he says simply. Send the paperwork. The documents arrive at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. My lawyer emails. Final signature needed. I stare at the electronic form, cursor blinking in the signature box. This is it. The point of no return. Once I sign, I own 53%. Controlling interest. I own my mother's company. My hand hovers over the touchpad. I think about the girl crying at the register. I think about Jason returning my ring. I think about every dinner table humiliation, every public shaming, every time Mom made me feel smaller than dirt. Sign. Mara Jane Whitfield. My father's daughter. The email sends. Done. I pour myself water because my hands are shaking too much for wine. Then I call Arthur. Schedule an emergency board meeting. I tell him. Monday morning. 9 a.m. sharp. Are you ready for this? He asks gently. I look at Dad's watch on my wrist, still keeping perfect time after all these years. I've been ready since the day she called me worthless, I say. It's time she learned what worth actually means. We hang up. I sit in the dark, feeling the weight of what's coming. Mom has no idea what Monday will bring. But I do. And for the first time in 10 years I sleep soundly. The board meeting notice goes out Friday afternoon. Emergency session. Ownership matters. Mom doesn't know what it means. She calls Richard, Margaret, Thomas. But they all deflect, offering vague reassurances while secretly preparing for the storm. I fly in Sunday night, checking into a hotel near the office. I don't sleep well despite my exhaustion. This is too big, too final. At 6 a.m., I shower and dress in the navy suit I bought specifically for this moment. Professional. Powerful. My father's daughter. Arthur meets me in the parking lot at 8:30. Last chance to back out, he offers. I look up at the building, 3 stories of glass and steel that Dad designed, that he built with his hands and his vision. The building Mom has been slowly destroying. I'm not backing out, I tell him. Good, he smiles. Then let's make history. We walk through the lobby. The receptionist glances up, clearly doesn't recognize me after 10 years. The boardroom is on. The 3rd floor, I finish. I know. My father designed this building. Her eyes widen, but I'm already moving toward the elevator. The boardroom is exactly as I remember. Mahogany table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Main Street. The place where Dad used to let me draw while he worked late. Richard, Margaret, and Thomas are already seated. They nod at me with something like respect. The 2 independent board directors look curious but supportive. Arthur has done his job well. At 8:58 I take my seat. Not in the middle. Not at the side. At the head of the table. Where leaders sit. At 9:03 Mom storms through the door, already complaining. This better be important because I have a vendor meeting at. She sees me. The words die in her throat. Her briefcase slips from her fingers, hitting the marble floor with a sound like thunder. For 10 seconds nobody moves. Then Mom's voice, small and confused. What is this? Mom stands frozen, one hand gripping the doorframe like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Someone explain what my daughter is doing in my boardroom. Now. Her voice tries for authority but lands somewhere closer to panic. Our boardroom, Richard says quietly. And she's here because as of Tuesday night, she owns 53% of this company. The blood drains from Mom's face. That's impossible. I slide a folder across the table. It's all documented. Meridian Ventures LLC, that was me. I've been acquiring shares for 4 months. Her hands shake as she opens the folder. I watch her read the truth, page by page, signature by signature. Dad's old partners choosing me over her. Choosing hope over fear. You, her voice breaks. You can't. This is MY company. It was Dad's company, I correct gently. You just ran it. And according to these financial reports, you've been running it into the ground for 3 years. Margaret speaks up. Evelyn, we tried talking to you. About the culture, the direction, the way you treat people. You wouldn't listen. Thomas adds. We're hemorrhaging clients. Employees are leaving in droves. The company is dying, and you refuse to see it. Mom's eyes, wild now, land back on me. You ungrateful, vindictive little. Careful, I interrupt. Whatever you say right now will be in the official minutes. She closes her mouth, chest heaving. After everything I did for you. After I took you in, raised you, gave you opportunities. You gave me nothing but cruelty, I say, my voice steady. You spent 10 years telling me I was worthless. So I left. I built something real. And now I'm here to save what Dad created from what you've become. She looks around the room desperately, searching for allies. But every face is tired, resolved, or quietly relieved. The board has voted. I continue. I'm the new majority owner and CEO. Effective immediately. You're relieved of all duties. Mom tries one last desperate gambit. I'll sue, she says, voice shaking with rage and fear. I'll take this to court. You'll what? Arthur speaks for the first time. His voice calm but firm. Every acquisition was legal. Every shareholder sold willingly. Every document is airtight. Your daughter has done nothing wrong except be better at business than you ever gave her credit for. Mom's eyes dart around the table like a trapped animal. But there's no escape. Even the independent directors who barely know me look relieved by the change. You can't just fire me, she tries weakly. I built this from nothing after Paul died. The mention of Dad's name makes my jaw tighten. You built it from his foundation. And you're right, I can't just fire you. But as majority owner, I have full authority over executive positions per the corporate bylaws. I pull out another document, sliding it across the table. Here's your severance package. 6 months' salary, health insurance for 1 year, and a non-disclosure agreement. It's more generous than you deserve, but it's what Dad would have wanted. She doesn't take it. Just stares at it like it might bite her. You're really doing this? To your own mother? For a moment, just a moment, I feel the weight of it. The complexity, the pain, the irreversible nature of this decision. But then I remember the crying employee. I remember Jason. I remember every humiliation. You told everyone I was worthless, I say quietly. You destroyed my engagement. You've spent years tearing down everyone around you. I'm not doing this to hurt you, Mom. I'm doing this to stop you from hurting anyone else. I stand buttoning my blazer. You're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. The room holds its breath. Mom stares at me like she's seeing me for the first time. Then slowly she picks up her briefcase. Her hands shake. Her lips press into a thin line. But she doesn't cry. She walks to the door with her spine straight, armor still intact. At the threshold she turns back. You'll regret this. Maybe I will. But at least I'll regret it from a position of dignity. She leaves. The door closes. And just like that it's over. After Mom leaves, the room exhales collectively. Richard wipes his eyes. Margaret looks relieved but sad. Thomas just nods at me with something like respect. The independent directors introduce themselves properly now that the drama has passed. We spend the next hour on procedures, signing documents, discussing transition plans, establishing my authority. By noon it's official. I'm the CEO of Whitfield Interiors. By 1 p.m., news has spread through the company like wildfire. I can hear the whispers as I walk the hallways. Hushed conversations, shocked faces, people clustering near the water cooler. Some employees look worried. Others look cautiously hopeful. Few look genuinely excited. I decide to address it head-on. I gather everyone in the main showroom at 3 p.m. 37 faces stare at me. Some familiar from my childhood, most complete strangers. I know today has been shocking, I begin. And I know many of you are worried about what this means for your jobs, your future here. I pause, making eye contact with as many people as I can. I'm not here to destroy what my father built. I'm here to restore it. To rebuild this company on respect instead of fear. On innovation instead of stagnation. On collaboration instead of cruelty. A young designer in the back raises her hand tentatively. What about us? Will you fire everyone who worked under your mother? No, I say firmly. Anyone who wants to stay and help me make this company what it should be. You're welcome. Anyone who thrived on the old toxic culture. You'll probably leave on your own. No judgment either way. Another employee speaks up. Are you really Evelyn's daughter? I smile sadly. Unfortunately, yes. But I'm also Paul Whitfield's daughter. And I intend to honor his legacy, not hers. The room relaxes slightly. As people disperse, a young woman approaches me. She's wearing a name tag that says, Jessica, Design Assistant. Are you really taking over? She asks quietly. I really am. Her smile is tentative but genuine. Good. We've needed someone like you for a long time. The backlash hits within 72 hours. Local media gets the story, and they frame it exactly how I feared. Daughter overthrows struggling mother in corporate coup. The headlines are vicious. Family betrayal at Whitfield Interiors. Ungrateful heiress stages takeover. Mother left penniless by ambitious daughter. The comment sections are worse. People who've never met me call me cold, calculating, a traitor to family values. Someone spray paints shame in red letters across the building's glass entrance. I receive hate mail, actual physical letters, calling me everything from a snake to a disgrace. Some threaten violence. My new assistant screens them nervously. Former employees who thrived under mom's regime start a whisper campaign. They frame her as a victim, a grieving widow trying to preserve her late husband's legacy against an ungrateful, ambitious daughter. They conveniently forget the verbal abuse, the impossible standards, the fear-based culture. I'm eating lunch alone in my new office, Dad's old office, when Arthur calls. How are you holding up? He asks. I watch protesters gather outside with signs reading Family First and Respect Your Elders. I've had better weeks. This is the hard part, Arthur says gently. The part where perception lags behind truth. But the truth always surfaces, Mara. People will see what you build. They'll understand eventually. And if they don't, then you'll have rebuilt a company with integrity anyway. Your peace of mind matters more than their approval. After we hang up, I look at the framed photo on my desk. Dad and me at my high school graduation, both grinning at the camera. He looks so proud. I trace his face with one finger. I hope I'm doing right by you, I whisper. Outside, the protesters chant. Inside, I get back to work. Because that's all I can do. Prove them wrong through action, not words. Weather the storm. Trust the truth. Build something better. I spend the next 6 months in intensive rebuild mode. First, the culture. I meet individually with every single employee. All 37 of them. I listen to their stories. Years of fear. Of walking on eggshells. Of watching talented colleagues destroyed by mom's unpredictable rage. Things are going to be different, I promise them. And I mean it. I implement new policies. Fair pay reviews based on merit, mental health days, transparent communication channels, anonymous feedback systems. I hire an HR director whose only job is ensuring people feel safe and valued at work. The old guard, managers who thrived on chaos and intimidation, leave voluntarily when they realize the new culture won't tolerate bullying. Good riddance. Next, the products. I assemble a design team and we spend weeks analyzing market trends, customer feedback, competitor strategies. We develop a new line called Heritage Modern, furniture that honors traditional craftsmanship while serving contemporary needs. Sustainable materials, ethical sourcing, fair trade partnerships, transparent pricing. The first collection launches in month 4. Design blogs that haven't mentioned Whitfield interiors in years suddenly take notice. A stunning reinvention, one review reads. Whitfield Interiors has remembered its soul. Sales climb steadily. By month 6, we're profitable for the first time in 3 years. The employees organize a surprise celebration in the showroom. When they present me with a World's Best Boss mug, meant as a joke but feeling surprisingly sincere, I have to excuse myself to cry in the bathroom. That evening, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You were right. I was wrong. Mom. I stare at those 6 words for a long time. Then I delete the message and turn off my phone. I'm not ready yet. Maybe I never will be. The public narrative shifts gradually, then all at once. It starts with a blog post from a former employee, someone who left Whitfield Interiors years ago during Mom's reign. The post is titled The Truth About Evelyn Whitfield and details years of abuse. Being forced to work through a parent's funeral, being screamed at for minor mistakes, watching colleagues have panic attacks in bathroom stalls. The post goes viral. Other stories emerge. A vendor describes how Mom refused to pay invoices, threatening to destroy their business if they complained. A client recalls being berated for asking questions. A former manager talks about stress-induced health problems from working under Mom's leadership. I don't fuel these stories. I don't comment on them. But I don't stop them either. The truth, as Arthur promised, surfaces on its own momentum. Meanwhile, I'm featured on a business podcast called Redemptive Leadership. The host asks me directly, "Did you buy the company for revenge?" I think carefully before answering. I bought it because I saw something valuable being destroyed. The fact that it was my mother destroying it made it personal, yes. But revenge would have been shutting it down, selling it off in pieces. Instead, I'm fighting to preserve my father's legacy and create a workplace where people feel human. The episode gets shared thousands of times. Comment sections that once condemned me now show support, understanding, even apologies. One comment reads, "I judged without knowing the full story. This is what real strength looks like. Not tearing down but building better." By month 9, Whitfield Interiors has 3 new locations opening. We're fielding acquisition offers from major retail chains. Sales have tripled. Employee retention is at 97%. I'm reviewing expansion plans late one night when my assistant calls. "Ms. Whitfield, there's someone in the lobby who wants to see you." "No appointment." "Who?" "Was. She says she's your mother." Could refuse. I should probably. But something, curiosity maybe or closure, makes me say, "Send her up." I straighten my desk, trying to calm my racing heart. When Mom walks through my office door, I barely recognize her. She's lost weight. Her clothes are nice but dated. Things I remember from years ago, meaning she's not buying new ones. Her hair, always perfectly styled, is in a simple ponytail. No makeup. No armor. She looks small. Human. Defeated. We stare at each other across the desk that used to be Dad's. The silence stretches like a chasm. "You look well," she finally says, hovering near the door. "Thank you." I don't invite her to sit. She notices. More silence. Outside, Chicago's nighttime traffic hums. "I've been watching," she continues. "The company. What you've done. The employee reviews, the sales numbers, the media coverage." She pauses. "It's good. Better than I ever managed to." Her voice cracks. She clears her throat, tries again. "I came to ask if you have any positions available. I need work, Mara. I have bills and my savings are." She trails off, unable to finish. This woman who called me worthless is asking me for a job. The irony should feel sweet. Instead it just feels sad. B. Why should I hire you? Ask, my voice neutral, professional. She flinches like I've struck her. Because I know this business can be useful. I'll do anything, even entry-level work. She swallows hard. I just need a chance. That's not what I asked, I say quietly. I asked why I should hire you, not what you need. Why you deserve it. She finally sits, uninvited, her body folding into the chair like she's been standing too long. Like she's been carrying something heavy for years and can't hold it anymore. Because I have nowhere else to go, she whispers. Mom's admission hangs in the air between us. She looks at her hands, fingers twisting together. A nervous gesture I've never seen from her before. She was always so controlled, so composed. Now she just looks broken. I lost everything, she says quietly. The house sold to cover debts. My friends. She laughs bitterly. Turns out they were interested in my success, not in me. When I had nothing left to offer, they disappeared. I lean back in Dad's chair, watching her carefully. Part of me wants to gloat, to throw her own words back at her. Remember when you called me worthless? Remember when you destroyed my engagement? But I'm exhausted by anger. You ruined my engagement, I say instead. You called me worthless in front of our entire family. You made every day after Dad died a living hell. She nods, tears forming in her eyes. I know. Do you? Do you actually understand what you did to me? She struggles, the words clearly painful. I was drowning in grief and rage after Paul died. And instead of dealing with it, I took it out on the easiest target. You. She looks up at me and I see something genuine there for the first time. You looked so much like him. Every time I saw you, I saw everything I'd lost. And I couldn't handle it, so I tried to make you smaller. Tried to convince myself you were the problem, not me. It's not an excuse. But it's an explanation. The most honest thing she's ever said to me. You could have chosen differently, I tell her. I was 17. I'd lost him too. We could have helped each other grieve. I know, she whispers. God, I know, and the word seems to physically hurt her. I'm sorry, Mara. I'm so deeply, impossibly sorry for everything I did to you. We sit in silence. I think about the girl who left that dinner table in tears. About the woman I've become, strong enough to face this without cruelty. I need time to think about this, I finally say. Come back Friday at 10 a.m. I'll have an answer then. She nods, standing slowly. At the door she pauses. For what it's worth, I'm proud of what you've built. Your father would be too. After she leaves, I sit alone in the dark office for a long time. I don't sleep that night. Instead, I walk through the empty building, running my fingers along furniture Dad designed, standing in showrooms I've rebuilt. I think about what justice really means. Arthur's words echo in my mind. Your peace matters more than their approval. What does my peace require? Refusing Mom would be justified. She destroyed pieces of me that can never be fully repaired. But would refusing her bring me peace? Or just perpetuate the cycle of pain? I sit at my desk and pull out my journal, a habit from therapy years ago. I write about Dad, about how grief twisted Mom into someone unrecognizable. I write about the choice I have now, become like her or become something better. I write, she hurt me because she was hurting. That doesn't excuse it. But understanding it helps me let go. Then I write, freedom isn't revenge. It's peace. The next morning I review our organizational chart. We have consultant positions, part-time roles for people with experience who can advise on specific projects. No authority over employees. No power to hurt anyone. It's honest work without giving her ammunition. I draft a contract. Specific terms, clear boundaries, non-negotiable conditions. 20 hours per week advising on vendor relationships and traditional design elements. Weekly check-ins with me. And one absolute requirement. Therapy. Professional help to deal with the grief she's carried wrong for so long. Friday arrives. Mom shows up at 9:55 looking nervous. I slide the contract across the desk without preamble. Consultant position, I say. 20 hours per week. You'll advise on vendor relationships and heritage design elements. Things you actually know. No management responsibilities whatsoever. No unsupervised contact with employees. She reads carefully, hands trembling slightly. One condition, I continue. Mandatory therapy. Weekly sessions with a licensed professional. Non-negotiable. You need to deal with your grief properly, Mom. For your sake, not mine. She looks up surprised. You're serious about this? Completely serious. You destroyed me because you refused to face your pain. I won't enable that anymore. Get help or walk away. She stares at the contract for a long moment. Then she picks up the pen and signs. This is more than I deserve, she says quietly. Probably, I agree. But it's what I'm offering. What you do with this chance is up to you. Mom starts the following Monday. I watch from my office window as she enters the building, heading not to the executive floor but to a small office on the second level. She keeps her head down, doesn't make small talk. She's early. Word spreads quickly about who the new consultant is. Some employees are uncomfortable, even angry. I address it in a department meeting. I know this raises questions, I tell them. But part of building a healthy culture means believing people can change. She'll be monitored closely. If anyone feels uncomfortable or unsafe, my door is always open. Your well-being comes first. Over the following weeks, something shifts. Mom is punctual, professional, quiet. She does exactly what's asked. Nothing more, nothing less. In our weekly meetings, she reports on her work without embellishment or excuse. She's actually seeing her therapist twice a week. How's therapy going? Ask in week 4. It's hard, she admits. Facing things I've ignored for 18 years. But necessary. And the work. Humbling. She meets my eyes. Being on this side of things, having no power, having to prove myself. I understand now what I put people through. What I put you through. I nod. We're not close. We may never be. But there's honesty here now. A clarity that wasn't possible before. One afternoon, I'm walking past the break room when I overhear 2 young designers talking. Have you worked with the new consultant yet? Yeah, actually. She's really helpful. Knows all these old vendors and traditional techniques. I heard she used to run this place. Really? Well, Mara's the best boss I've ever had. Total turnaround from whatever it was before. I don't announce my presence. I just keep walking, those words settling warm in my chest. Mom is rebuilding her reputation one small action at a time. And I'm learning that mercy doesn't mean weakness. It means having the strength to break cycles instead of continuing them. 6 months into Mom's consultancy, the company celebrates its 50th anniversary. We plan a major event. Employees, vendors, clients, local press. I wanted to honor where we came from while celebrating where we're going. The venue transforms into something magical. String lights everywhere. Carefully arranged furniture displays showcasing our heritage modern line. Food from local caterers we now support. Employees bring their families. There's laughter, genuine pride, a sense of real community. I spot Mom in the crowd, standing alone near the back. She's wearing a simple navy dress, her posture uncertain. So different from the commanding presence she used to have. Our eyes meet briefly. She offers a small smile. I nod back. When it's time for speeches, I take the microphone. My hands shake slightly, but my voice stays steady. 50 years ago, my father Paul Whitfield founded this company with a simple belief. That the spaces we inhabit shape our lives. He believed in beauty, yes, but also in dignity. In treating employees, clients, and partners with respect. I see several long-time employees nodding, remembering. After he passed, the company lost its way for a while. It became about control instead of creativity. Fear instead of innovation. But I have to believe that we can honor his legacy by doing better. By building a workplace where people feel valued, where our work has meaning, where we create beautiful things without destroying each other in the process. I pause, finding Mom's face in the crowd. She's crying silently, tears streaming down her face. To everyone who's ever been told they weren't enough, prove them wrong. Not by fighting them, not by becoming them, but by outgrowing them. By building something so authentic to yourself that no one can take it away. The room erupts. People stand, clapping, whistling. I see tears on faces throughout the crowd. People who understand exactly what I'm talking about because they've lived it. As the applause continues, I watch Mom. She's clapping too, slowly, alone in her corner. Our eyes meet across the crowded room. There's something in her expression I've never seen before. Genuine pride, maybe. Or recognition. Or regret for what could have been. The moment passes. People shift. But something has changed between us. Not forgiveness, exactly. But understanding. Beginning. Life settles into something like normal. The company thrives. We open 5 new locations by year's end. Architectural Digest features us as a masterclass in conscious comeback. I hire 23 new employees and promote 8 from within. The culture we've built becomes our signature strength. Mom continues her consultancy. We're cordial in our weekly meetings, professional. Sometimes I catch glimpses of regret in her eyes when she sees employees laughing freely, unafraid. But we don't dwell on the past. We're both too busy building futures. One evening, I find an old photo album in Dad's desk. I flip through pictures of younger versions of my parents. Mom smiling genuinely, Dad's arm around her, both looking happy and hopeful. There's a photo of Mom holding baby me. Her expression full of uncomplicated love. Tucked between pages, I find a note in Dad's handwriting. To my girls, you are both so strong, so brilliant. Take care of each other. Love doesn't always look like we expect, but it's always worth choosing. Dad. My throat tightens. I read it 3 times before carefully tucking it back. The next morning, I find Mom in her small office reviewing fabric samples. I found something of Dad's yesterday, I say, handing her the note. She reads it, tears spilling immediately. He was always the best of us, she whispers. Yeah. I agree softly. He was. We stand in awkward silence. 2 women connected by blood and history and pain and now, maybe, the smallest seed of healing. Thank you, she says finally. For not destroying me when you had every right to. I consider my response carefully. I didn't do it for you, I tell her honestly. I did it because I refused to let your mistakes define who I become. You taught me what not to be. And maybe that's the most valuable lesson you could have given me. She nods, accepting this truth. I'm grateful you're stronger than I was. It's not a Hollywood ending. We don't hug. We don't suddenly become the mother-daughter relationship we never had. But there's respect in the space between us now. And maybe that's enough. That evening, I'm featured in Forbes' 40 Under 40 list. The article calls me the quiet revolutionary reshaping legacy business dynamics. When reporters ask about my mother, I keep it simple. We're both learning that worth isn't given by others. It's built by ourselves, one choice at a time. I receive a text from Mom that night. Saw the Forbes piece. Your father would be so proud. I'm proud too, for whatever that's worth. I stare at the message for a long time before responding. It's worth something. Not everything, but something. And that, I realize, is the truth. Some wounds leave permanent scars. Some relationships can't be fully healed. But we can choose to stop bleeding. We can choose to build something better from the broken pieces. I've proven I was never worthless. To the world, yes, but more importantly to myself. And in the end, that's the only validation that ever truly mattered. I close my laptop, turn off the lights, and head home. Tomorrow there's work to do, a company to run, a legacy to honor. But tonight, for the first time in 18 years, I feel something close to peace. The girl who left that dinner table in tears wouldn't recognize the woman I've become. But she'd be proud. And so, I think, would Dad.